Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am going to be bringing you guys a best class setup and loadout in Warzone based off your KD. So this video specifically is going to focus on people between a 0.6 and a 1.2 KD. This is what I would call the average player in Warzone. It's what the majority, around 85% of players, fit into this category in Warzone. So if you've got an above a 1.2 or below a 0.6, then you're probably either in the beginners category or the expert category. And if you guys do going to enjoy this video, then I can go ahead and make gun loadouts and classes specifically for 1.2 to a 2 KD, and then maybe a 2 plus, maybe a 2 to 3, 3 to 4, etc. But we will see how this one goes first. And obviously, if you are under a 0.6 KD, or if you're above a 1.2 KD, all of these classes still apply. They are just tailored towards making it easier for players in this skill range to be able to get more kills each and every single game, so that you're improving overall, increasing your game sense, and getting you those all-important dubs. But one other thing to add before we start, like I say, that if you are below the KD in the title or above it, you can still use all of these classes absolutely fine, and you may well enjoy it doing so. This is just tailored towards that sort of average everyday player, someone who plays the game quite a lot but isn't necessarily try hard in every single game. They just want to be able to get some kills and have fun. This is going to be it. I'm also going to throw in some of those extra sweaty classes that are really good hidden gem classes for those 1.1, 1.2 KD players who are your pretty good players, your above average guys who are going to be rocking a lot of kills every game. That's going to be for you. So I'm going to file those classes in so that there's something for everybody in this video as well. And the main thing, using classes that you can actually control will help you because you will be able to get more kills. If you're using something like the AMAX but you've not got the recoil control to back that up, you are going to struggle getting some of those kills, which you may well get very easily using something like the Krig, the FARA, the M4A4. All of those weapons would be best suited to that skill range because you'll easily be getting a very, very slightly slower TTK with those weapons, but if you're able to hit more shots, overall, you're getting a faster TTK, so it makes sense to just go for a gun that's within your skill range and capabilities, particularly if you're learning movement or you like to move around a lot. You're going to want a gun that's better for mobility, and the AMAX necessarily isn't that, depending how you build it. So you're really going to want to focus on guns that are going to help you rather than what is meta, and that is the aim of this video, to show you guys what those weapons actually are. I'm going to go over some of the more comfortable weapons that are fairly easy to use, and I'm then going to go into some advanced weapons so that you can pick out the ones that are better for your playstyle. I'm also going to cover things like the perks you should be using, the playstyle you should use in each situation, so rushing, holding, or camping versus strategy. I'm going to go over contracts, how you should be doing to maximize your economy in the game, and how important economy actually is, particularly if you're a beginner player on that lower end, that 0.6 KD. Economy is probably going to be one of your most important things that's going to help you improve your gameplay dramatically, so we're going to go over that as well. We're going to go over where you should be aiming and things like crosshair placement in the middle of your screen, where that should be aimed at, so basically chest and headshot height at all times in areas roughly where enemies are expected to be. We're also going to go over vehicles and jump spots as well, so there's a ton of stuff to go over. I'm going to go over it as compactly as I can so that it's easy to follow for you guys, but also gives you all the tips that you need to be doing. And I'm going to go over the classes individually as well, so you guys have got a good idea of what you should be using, and then afterwards how you should use it in the game. If you do go on to enjoy this video, make sure you do drop a like down below, and if you find it useful, let me know in the comments if you would like to see a 1.2 KD plus loadout, so maybe a 1.2 to a 1.5 or a 1.8, and then a 2 plus, 3 plus, 4 plus, right up until those very, very sweaty 5, 6 plus KDs. I could do a video covering all of these classes because there is certain things that you're going to want to use the better you get at the game. So let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. Other than that, if you are new to this channel, make sure you do drop a subscribe down below. We are pushing for 2k subscribers now, so it'd be amazing to have you here as part of the channel community. And make sure you've got the notification bell turned on so that you don't miss a single upload from the channel. That'd be amazing. Other than that, let's jump straight into today's video. Okay, so here we are in the Modern Warfare Warzone menu, and this is my creator class screen. So I'm just going to go over some of the best and easiest weapons for you guys to use when you're in this 0.6 to a 1.2 KD range. And we're going to start off with some of the easier guns to use. So at the moment, the Krig 6 and LC10 is generally considered quite a meta class. It is a very, very strong setup of weapons, and both of these guns are very nice to use. They've got friendly recoil, which is pretty much just vertical with these setups, very low amount of recoil as well, so it's very easy to control. They both give a decent amount of maneuverability, particularly the LC10, and you are able to get a lot of kills, pretty much up to about 130 meters with the Krig, and then anything from sort of 50 or 40 meters and below, you want to be switching to this LC10. So the setup we've got on the Krig 6 here is the agency suppressor, the Ranger barrel, the Axle Arms 3x scope, the Field Agent grip, and the Stanag 60 round mag. Now the agency suppressor here is obviously for longer range fights, the sound suppressor or the new suppressor on the variant of each weapon. You just want that for close range guns. Sometimes you will want the agency suppressor on, but for all your long range builds you're going to want the agency suppressor on there. The Ranger barrel gives us some extra bullet velocity, which is excellent because Cold War weapons lack bullet velocity in Warzone, so having that extra bullet velocity will make it feel like more hit scan. Essentially, you shoot an enemy where they're actually stood and the bullets are going to hit more accurately. The aerial axle 3x, this is a really nice scope because it does give us that 3x magnification. Really good sight to be able to get a lot of kills, but it also means you can use it up close because they're just going to be zoomed in a bit more. So if you do manage to not switch to your LC10 in time or someone creeps up on you, you're still going to be able to use this at close range, which is really, really nice. The Field Agent grip we threw on there just to combat all of that recoil control, so it's just going to give us a very, very steady aim and recoil with this weapon. And then the Stanag 60 round there is really, really good. It does affect the ADS time slightly, but because this is going to be our longer range build, we don't need it to be as snappy as an SMG build. So that's really, really nice there. Very low recoil, very low TTK, which is exactly what we're looking for in a weapon, and really, really sturdy. And also Samurai's Krig, this variant right here, looks stunning. So if you've got that one, whack it on. We're then also going with the LC10. Now on this one, we've got the agency suppressor. Again, we're not going for the sound suppressor on this one because the LC10 is one of those SMGs that can reach up to 40, 50, maybe even 60 meters to get some damage off and some kills. So you definitely want to put the agency suppressor on to help maximize its potential at longer ranges. You then got the Task Force barrel on there that just gives it extra strafe speed, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Does give it quite a bit of recoil, but again, we combat that with the Field Agent grip that we put on here. Basically negates it out so it becomes exactly the same. We've then got the Stanag 55 round. Again, it does affect the ADS time slightly, but nowhere near as much as these fast mags, and you do want to be able to have the most ammo available to you with this weapon because it's really going to help you out. If you do miss a few shots, it doesn't matter when you've got this much ammo, so that's really, really good, and it's exactly what you want for this weapon. Finally, pairing it with the Raider stock then to give us that ADS move firing speed, aim walking move speed, and the sprint to fire speed, which is really, really crucial for an SMG. It means you've got a ton of mobility and you're able to bring this gun up really, really quickly, which is really, really nice. Now, what we can look at here as well is the perks. The perks are going to be the same throughout all of the classes. You're going to want to run EOD on your first perk. This gives you less damage from explosives. Now, you can also run double time instead if you want to. That just gives you a little bit more movement. But generally, EOD, less damage from explosive stuff is going to be great. Things like grenades, C4, thermite, anything like that is going to be perfect. Overkill obviously allows you to have both the weapons. If you're not running Overkill, you're going to be running Ghost, which means you've got one primary and a secondary pistol. And then obviously Ghost, which means you're undetectable by UAVs. So you're definitely going to want to have at least one Ghost class in your loadout so that you can switch to that for late game, because essentially when you get your second loadout of the game, you want to get first one with Overkill, second one with Ghost, and then just pick up the weapons that you want to use. Then obviously for perk 3, you always go with Amped. It allows you to swap weapons faster, and it's going to be absolutely crucial for winning many, many gunfights in this game. You can, if you are going for a secondary Ghost class that has a pistol secondary, go for Tracker, because swapping to a pistol is faster, but generally I always stick to Amp just because it's a more reliable thing. If you pick up an enemy's weapon, or you decide to pick up anything other than a pistol as that secondary weapon there, then you're going to be switching to it a ton faster. Also, to do with lethals, I usually go with Semtex. It's very, very good. It cracks armor instantly and can sometimes get a one hit down if they don't have full plates, which is really, really nice. You could also go for throwing knives if you're going for thirst. When you've downed people, throwing knives them one shot, they're out, so that's also an option. Really good as well, C4 for vehicles, and thermites is probably the next best thing because if people are camping, you can throw that in and it tends to get them to move around a little bit. So there's a few different options there, but generally I go with Semtex or a throwing knife. And then on your tactical, you either want heartbeat sensor, essentially a mini UAV in your hand, or stun grenades. Stun grenades are really, really good, especially if people have riot shields. You can throw a stun grenade at them, they can't move around, then you can run around them and shoot them in the back so the shield doesn't protect them, which is really, really crucial. So we're going to move on now to the next class, which I would say is the PPSH and Kar98. Now, a side note about the PPSH, this I would recommend for players with a 1.1 to 1.2 KD, the topper end of today's video, because the recoil on it can be a little bit much depending on the build that you do. The build I've got for this one is the sound suppressor. That's the brand new suppressor, gives it a lot of mobility, gives it just that little bit of extra bullet velocity, not quite as much as the GRU suppressor, but enough. No ADS reduction, which is really, really nice, gives it a lovely, lovely snap, and we've got good sprint to fire speed on there. Task Force barrel, now this is where the recoil can get a bit iffy, so if you're not as good with the recoil on this and you're a lower KD player but you want to try out the PPSH because it looks fun, and believe me, it is great, Throw on the reinforced heavy instead. It's going to reduce the recoil on it dramatically, and you're going to be able to get a ton more laser kills with this weapon using that. The Tiger Team Spotlight then goes on there for the strafe speed. It's got one of the best base strafe speeds in the entire game, so adding this on makes your strafe speed absolutely unbelievable. Whilst you're shooting and whilst you're ADSing, you can dodge around people and break vision very, very easily. Now, break vision means just going outside of their camera or to the very edge of their camera, so they have to turn around and probably miss a few shots. This gun is great for doing that. We then also throw on the Raider stock there. That just gives us that little bit extra mobility again and sprint to fire time, and the 55 round drum mag, because that is an insane amount of ammo, and all it affects is reload quickness. No ADS penalty, so it's absolutely insane. If you are struggling with recoil on this gun a little bit too much, take off the Tiger Team Spotlight and instead throw on the Spetsnaz grip here, because that will give you a ton more laser beam accuracy. But obviously that strafe speed, like I said, and breaking those camera angles is really, really good to help you get a lot of kills. I'm then pairing this then with the Kar98, and again, this is probably going to be for your 0.9 plus KD players, because the Kar98 is quite a difficult weapon to use in terms of you have to hit your shots with it. There's no give and take for the recoil, and there's no like extra bullets. It's not fully automatic. Obviously, it's a tactical rifle, but technically it's a sniper. We build it like a sniper here, and it's probably, in my opinion, the best sniper in the game when it's built like the class which is on screen now. So we got the monolithic suppressor, the Singard custom 27.6-inch barrel, tac laser, variable zoom scope, and the F-Tac Sports Combat. It's got a very, very fast ADS speed. One shot headshot down, upper chest shot, you're going to get a full crack on armor and a lot of damage off health, so then you can switch to a gun and 1 to 2 bullet people, or your teammates can help you out if you've got them there, or you can just shoot them twice in the upper chest and you will down somebody. So really, really good, powerful weapon. Very, very fast. The variable zoom gives it loads of mobility to be able to get shots off a longer range with very, very clear visibility. Fantastic all-round weapon, and once you get to grips with this, you're going to see your KD improve dramatically, because you're going to be able to pick off so many kills with this bad boy that it's not even going to be funny. People won't see you, and you'll be able to get a ton of kills. So pairing that with something like the PPSH is a really, really good and viable class at the moment. Now, we've also got the same LC10 setup which I showed you guys with the first class, but this time paired with the FARA. Now the FARA is going to be a long range build. We did see a double AR meta for a while where this was getting paired with a close range build, but it's now been fine tuned to be a mid to long range assault rifle, and it's actually really, really good. Cruise suppressor on this then with the Liberator barrel, again for that bullet velocity. SUSAT multi-zoom, some people don't like this. This is a 2 to 4 times zoom scope, but the visual recoil, meaning when you're actually shooting through the scope of this weapon, is minimal. There's barely any visual recoil. It looks like you're just lasering, so you're going to be able to hit shots almost immaculately with this weapon once your aim is on par. So that is exactly what you want from a gun. It's really, really nice. You can choose to go with the Axle 3 times, or maybe even the 4 times if you want to, but because of the low visual recoil with the SUSAT multi-zoom, I would always recommend this on the FARA, because it looks like you're just shooting straight, which is really, really helpful when you're trying to get extra kills and get your KD improved. You've then also got the Spetsnaz speed grip there, just for that obviously extra bit of mobility, but also that horizontal recoil control, and the Spetsnaz 60 round mag on there for a tiny bit of ADS reduction, but the most ammo you can get with the gun. Exactly the same LC10 build again with that one that we showed at the start. Really, really nice and viable class setup at the moment. Very competitive, will get you a ton of kills very easily, and you'll outshred a ton of people with this class. Now another one that's really, really nice to run is actually the AMAX and the Mac 10. Now again, the AMAX, I would say you want a 1 or a 1.1 and above KD to be able to use this effectively. You need to be really able to control your recoil on this gun for it to be good. Otherwise, you may as well go for something like the Krig 6 or the M4, which we'll talk about in a moment, because those guns have more laser pinpoint accuracy. The TTK is a couple hundred milliseconds slower on those weapons compared to the AMAX, but if you're not able to hit your shots with the AMAX, then it doesn't make any difference what the TTK is, because that's providing you're hitting every shot. So that's why sometimes the meta is a little bit skewed, and actually for most players, including myself, sometimes the AMAX is good if you're feeling it on a good day, but sometimes you want to stick with the Krig 6 or the M4 and you're going to be much better off. But for those players that have got a good KD, that are good at recoil control, good with movement, the setup you want for this one is a monolithic suppressor, XRK Zodiac S440 barrel, the VLK 3 times optic, 45 round mags, and the Commando foregrip. Very low recoil compared to what you can get on the AMAX. Really nice amount of ammunition. Good visual recoil from the VLK in terms of being very low and steady. So once you get used to the recoil on this weapon, the TTK is extremely low, and it's going to be very, very fun to use. Pairing it then with the Mac 10, which has got one of the lowest recoils out of the SMGs, a very, very good laser beam with this setup. And again, there's a couple of alterations you can make if you are a lower KD player or someone who struggles to control recoil. I'll show you guys that as well. So you've got the sound suppressor, which is the brand new one, great for making it short and snappy, we know about that. Task Force barrel again for the same reasons as before, but again, if you are struggling with recoil, swap it out to the reinforced heavy. All that you get a little bit less of is the strafe speed there. other than that, the effective damage range and the bullet velocity is pretty similar, so you're actually going to be doing just as well with this one. You're just not going to get quite as much camera break, but if you're playing in lower skilled lobbies, it's not going to matter quite as much. So until you've got a little bit better and you can control recoil better, stick with the reinforced heavy barrel and then move on to the task force when you've got the sort of control over your weapons locked down. You've then paired that with the Raider stock again for the extra mobility to make this a very fast and snappy class. Field Agent Grip for the recoil control there, and the Salvo 53 round fast mags. Again, it does affect your ADS speed quite a bit, but you definitely want the 53 round mag on. It's by far the best one that you can have, and the reload speed really helps when you are in those up close situations. If you do feel like you're controlling the recoil pretty well, or you're going to go with the reinforced and feel like you don't need the Field Agent, by all means swap this out. You could put on a rear grip, so I'd probably put on either the Serpent for that faster ADS time, or if you're really feeling it, then you could maybe put on the Airborne Elastic, but that does affect your sprint to fire, so I would usually stick with mainly the Serpent because it doesn't affect it quite as much and it's got a better ADS time. Or you can also throw in the SOF Target Designator, which gives you a bit of hip fire accuracy and effective damage range up, which is really nice. So that's another option if you don't want to run the Field Agent Grip there. Now, another class setup I'm going to talk about here is the weapon variant, the Old Faithful, which is the M4A4 from Modern Warfare. This weapon is an absolute laser beam. You want the monolithic suppressor, stock M16 Grenadier, barrel, VLK 3x optic, commando foregrip, and 60 round mags. It's going to feel like you're not moving barely at all with the recoil. Very low TTK, not quite as low as the AMAX, but you're going to be hitting more shots with a weapon like this, which makes it excel dramatically. You're going to be able to get a ton of kills, close range, long range, whatever you want with this weapon. I've actually paired this with the MP5 from Modern Warfare. Again, this is a weapon that I would suggest for people with a 1.2 plus KD, so those top KD players that are watching this video, this is probably one more for you guys, but if you are at a lower KD, want to try it out, it might help you improve a little bit, so you could always give it a go as well. But for this one, we've gone with a monolithic integral suppressor, 5mm laser, F-Tac collapsible stock, Merc foregrip, and 45 round mags. The thing's a laser beam. You don't even have to ADS. You can just get hip fire kills, which is why those higher KD players are going to be better using it, because the accuracy you need to have is a lot higher. But once you have got it mastered, it's a very good weapon. Very low TTK, minimal recoil, very cool weapon. And it's just an Old Faithful class with the MW weapons, M4, MP5, job done, very secure set of weapons there. So those are going to be like your best classes to use for the KD range of 0.6 to 1.2, 1.3-ish. And again, if you are below a 0.6, you can still use all of these classes, and hopefully this should help you improve and get better at the game. So a few things then to just quickly go over at the end of the video here. Those classes are going to help you do well, but you also need to be aware. I've gone over the perks for you guys there, what you should be using with each and every class, but you also want to know about playstyle. Play to the advantage of your playstyle. If you've got an aggressive class, so you've got an AR and an SMG, you've got the advantage of playing close range and rushing with the SMG, or you can sit back and pick with those AR builds. If you're playing with a sniper, again, you can play both. You can quick scope with the sniper if you're more confident with the accuracy, or you can sit back, pick people off, and then switch to the SMG or the AR to finish those kills. It's going to really depend on how you feel like playing, what the zone looks like, but you'll get used to it the more you play through the game. But all of these classes give you the versatility to do a rushing playstyle or a more laid back, chilled, strategic playstyle, depending on how you're feeling during that match. Another really important thing is economy, so getting contracts out the way. The more contracts you do in a game, the higher rewards you get for this, and this is extremely important in squads game modes, so duos, trios, and quads, because if you have a team member that dies, so say for example, all 3 of you get squad wiped, 2 of you come back from Gulag, and 1 of you doesn't, but you have no cash. If you have completed 2 or 3 contracts at the start of the game, by the time you land back in, land on a contract, get it done, a scavenger maybe, that's something that's easy to do, or a recon, you'll get a higher payout, so you'll probably get around $6,000 to $7,000 for completing that, which will mean you can instantly res your teammate and get well back on the way towards that loadout again. So your regain, which is when you come back from a gunfight, or you come back from a gulag or a buyback, and you've got very little cash, very little ammo, very little armor. This is what's going to help you be able to do better in those situations. You're going to get a lot of cash quickly, so you can get a good economy going, buy everything that you need, and get back in the game quickly. So that's going to be a really helpful thing to focus on. As well as that, things like movement, so learning how to slide cancel, camera braking like I talked about there, where you're going out of people's FOV. Again, unfortunately for you console guys, it's a lot easier for people on PC to break camera angles because we have a much bigger FOV, so we can slide past people and get those kills. But it does happen on PC a ton as well, because if people have things like dead silence, or they're good at slide cancelling, they can soon whip off the side of your screen, and then it's very hard. You've got to turn around to get the kill. By the time you've done that, your aim's going to be off, whereas they've gone past you and could just shoot you in the side and the back, even in the front before you get there, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get those kills. So the sooner you learn how to slide cancel, where camera angle breaks actually are, and positioning such as high ground, you're going to get a ton more kills doing that as well. And one final thing here is just to make sure that you look at your aim, make sure it's at the right headshot height level or the chest shot height level as you are walking around the map. Make sure you pre-aim in areas where people are going to be, so windows or doorways that people likely come through, or little snippets where they will jump up. As well as this, be aware of where vehicles spawn so that you know where people are going to be. If a vehicle is in a different position to where a spawn point is, it's probably people in that area, so look out for them. Also, you can run people over with all of the vehicles in this game, helicopters included, and helicopters are really, really good for completing contracts if you want to get there quickly. That is really, really nice to just be able to zip around the map, get a few recons done, get knowledge of where the final zone's going to be, ton of cash under your belt, you'll be well on the way to a victory. That one is called Farming Wins. And then the final thing here is just jump spots. Make sure you're aware of where the jump spots are, at least in your favourite drop locations. Maybe not across the entire map, but just have a look at some guides or work some out for yourself, or maybe even watch your favourite streamer, see where they drop, and some jump spots that you can find in that area, because that will really, really help you out to be able to outplay your opponent massively, and it is going to get you a ton more kills. So hopefully you guys have found this video useful and helpful. I've tried to include as much as I can in as short amount of time as I can. It's going to be a bit of a longer video, but if you guys have stuck through to the end, I really, really appreciate that. Let me know if you have it in the comments by leaving a comment just saying it's made it to the end, because I'd really appreciate that. That'd be amazing. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you do drop a like on the video as well. It really, really helps me out. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscribe. We upload every single day, and we're on the push to 2k subs now, so it'd be great to have you here as part of the channel community. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. As always, take care and peace.